Hello everyone, welcome back for another YouTube video. Today I'm sure many of you can probably guess what it is we're going to be talking about, given the news that we've had over the past 24 hours in relation to Hedera Hashgraph HBAR, and of course the title of this video and the thumbnail. We are of course going to be talking about the resignation of Shane Higdon, who was the CEO, still is up until I think the 31st of... Is it this month? Is it today that he's actually no longer going to be the CEO? Yes, it is. So he still might be the CEO by the time this records, but as of the 1st of September, he's no longer going to be the CEO. I wasn't planning on making an evening video today. You guys know that we like to take a little bit or catch a little bit of downtime on Saturday, which is quite hard in a market that trades 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But I've had an unimaginable amount of comments and questions that have been put to me in regards to how is this going to affect Hedera Hashgraph HBAR, and the answer straight off the rip is I don't think it will. In fact, if anything, I'm of the opinion that this is more of a positive announcement than a negative one. The only announcement to come out over the past 24 hours that I'm upset about personally is that the Hedera Hashgraph Foundation, HBAR Foundation, let Brandon, who is the HBAR bull, go, terminated his contract. However, I do know Brandon sort of spoke about that in his video yesterday and did say he was going to continue to cover Hedera Hashgraph, perhaps not in the same capacity for obvious reasons. However, the beautiful thing about Brandon and why I always got on very well with Brandon was because he was very genuine. It was one of those beautiful work, passion relationships that he had with the HBAR Foundation because he's genuinely a H-barbarian. So that's the only news I'm a little bit, sad about, if anything. However, the resignation of Shane Higdon, the CEO of the HBAR Foundation, is something actually I'm viewing as more of a positive thing than a negative thing, and we'll explain why that is in this video. We're going to address quite a few things. Hedera Hashgraph, by the way, guys, and we've said it previously and we'll say it again, and we make no bones about it, is my largest position. I think when you look at the world that we're moving towards, there are many things about HBAR, there are many things about Hedera Hashgraph's DLT that put it in that prime position for actually being able to enable the digital world that we're moving towards. But let's start things off with the news. We'll explain why this is such a controversial issue and why there's a lot of strong opinions in regards to it. And I think actually a lot of those opinions are founded in genuine grievances. But let's start things off with the news from the HBAR Foundation. Very interesting that the comments were turned off here, and I can imagine why they were turned off, because there is, from many people I know on Twitter within the sort of HBAR community that are loyalists to HBAR, they were, for lack of a better word, pissed off with Shane due to the events that took place in April. We will be talking about that event, or those events, I should say, in this video. But this is from the HBAR Foundation. The HBAR Foundation today announces that Shane Higdon is stepping down from his position as CEO, effective on August the 31st, which is today, Saturday. So the Foundation's senior leadership team will continue to manage day-to-day operations, ensuring that all ongoing initiatives remain on track. The HBAR Foundation remains committed to continuous evolution, progress, and ongoing support of the Hedera ecosystem. So a lot of questions, by the way, were asked to me in regards to, oh no, Hedera's CEO is stepping down. Hedera doesn't have a CEO. The HBAR Foundation is a non-profit organization that is essentially there to support the development and growth of the Hedera ecosystem. So they do things like grant funding, ecosystem support, strategic partnerships, community building, and governance and advocacy. So they aren't, there's no CEO of Hedera. There is a CEO of an organization in much the same way that Ethereum had Consensus or something like this. Or Polkadot has Parity, or Cardano has the Cardano Foundation. The HBAR Foundation is very much that equivalent. And of course, Shane Higdon was the CEO of this. And he's now stepped down, and he stepped down, I personally believe, due to the events that took place in April. So in April, we had some, in my opinion, I still believe it's insane news that BlackRock's ICS money market fund was tokenized on Hedera Hashgraph, obviously through Archax. We've been lucky enough to interview the CEO of Archax, Graham, great guy. Archax aren't just partnered with Hedera, they're partnered with XRP and quite a few other sort of cryptos out there or blockchains out there to enable the kind of tokenization of everything. Hedera is, kind of one of their chosen blockchains. Obviously, they've got a very close relation with Aberdeen, who is the largest fund manager in the world. I wanted to make this video because I think people are using this to kind of throw a little bit of shade and doubt on Hedera, and I don't think it needs to be there. But there was a tweet from Shane that essentially announced this news along with the HBAR Foundation. At the time, he was the CEO of it back on, I think it was April the 23rd. And it says BlackRock has tokenized one of their money market funds on Hedera in partnership with Archax and Onera. Hopefully, you've been paying attention. Now, we're about to get into the controversy and ultimately why I believe he stepped down. Because I don't believe that BlackRock themselves actually did the tokenization. I believe it was a client of Archax that asked to essentially tokenize a BlackRock fund, but would have had permission from BlackRock, of course, to do so. So, words are important, and given what took place after this, and ultimately what I think is the reason behind his resignation, perhaps pushed, I'm not 100% sure. And I also can't confirm, by the way, that the events that we're about to talk about now actually took place. I'm just going on what has come out on Twitter and social media. So take this with a pinch of salt. So after that announcement from Shane, there was rumors that Shane sent 5.3 million HBAR to Coinbase, essentially a couple of hours after this announcement. Now, I don't know how true this is, but we're going to cover it anyway because it's very relevant to the question that many people are asking me. So there would be a little bit of a conflict of interest in regards to, and I can see why people are annoyed about this, somebody announcing something that was quite likely going to move the price of something, and then after announcing, allegedly, I don't know how true it is, selling tokens that were related to the announcement. And this is why the disgruntlement. This is why people are annoyed. This obviously took place in April. It's now August. We're going into September. And this, of course, I believe has led to the HBAR Foundation's announcement. And I actually see this as a net positive over a negative. And the reasons being is a lot of people I know within the HBAR community were also extremely disgruntled in regards to this. To not defend Shane here, but just to put things in context, Vitalik Buterin, of course, the founder of Ethereum, sold 70,000 ETH in 2017 when the price was going up. Now, of course, the announcement is really, and the timing of things is really what annoyed people. But I think what I'm trying to say here, perhaps, again, not in defense of Shane, but to put things into context, is founders, CEOs for big cryptocurrencies will often take advantage of strong price action to essentially unload tokens that they've been paid. It happens all the time. I know of many events where this has happened. It's going to continue to happen. This is just how things go. And I think as human beings, we always need to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Now, personally, if I had 5.3, I don't have that much Hedera, unfortunately, guys, $1 million. I don't know where this figure has come from even, by the way, but anywhere near that, I would be waiting for significantly higher prices because I truly believe this blockchain is going to see those prices to unload. But I think many of you out there also are in a similar position where you've bought HBAR, ready to sell it at a higher price and take advantage of higher prices. So just bear that in mind a little bit. Again, really what I'm not doing here is defending what may have taken place. I want to stress this as adamantly as I possibly can. I don't know, I have no evidence myself that this individual actually did that. Announced things. I know he announced what was announced because I covered it on the channel, but I don't know that there was then coins sent to Coinbase that were dumped directly after that announcement. I don't know that. I have no evidence for that. I can't say whether this did or didn't happen. But ultimately, this is relevant because this is leading to the questions that I'm being asked in regards to the CEO of the HBAR Foundation stepping down. Remember, the HBAR Foundation is not Hedera Hashgraph. They're, again, a development arm of it that is funded with it. Okay, so on to the question that I've been getting asked, which is how is this going to affect Hedera Hashgraph? If anything, I think it's going to be a good thing for it. You don't want somebody in charge of an organization that is in the position the HBAR Foundation is in to essentially have this kind of the community against them because of speculation that may or may not be true. Again, I can't confirm whether this is true or not. I want to make that clear. Ultimately, this gets me excited for who is going to fill those boots. I think this is exactly what's needed. I think there must be a reshuffling going on with the HBAR Foundation because ultimately, again, Brandon's contract was terminated. I'm sure there's a number of others out there that perhaps we haven't heard of. There's a reshuffling going on, and anybody, including myself, who's owned a business, who's owned a corporation, will know that reshufflings happen. And in this case, we've looked at why the top potentially may have been taken out or been forced into a resignation, obviously due to the community outrage on something that if it was true, there is absolutely reason to be outraged about. If it wasn't, then, you know, this is Chinese whispers. That's very much what Twitter often can turn out to be. Again, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm not saying it is. I don't actually personally know. I can't confirm whether after that announcement was made, the CEO actually dumped tokens onto the market. But what I can say is a lot of people are speculating that that was the case. And ultimately, this is why I believe he resigned. So in regards to Hedera Hashgraph, I don't think this affects it in the slightest. It doesn't take away any of the partnerships, any of the proof of concepts, any of the anythings that are going on with it. I still believe HBAR is going to do something similar to what Cardano did in 2020 to 21. I think it's setting up in very much the same manner. So there's many people out there that are essentially blaming Shane for the price action, the HBAR Foundation for the price action that the cryptocurrency space is currently seeing. Ultimately, if you want to blame anything, it's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only anomaly this cycle. Very much altcoins are in the perfect position that they're always in, round about this sort of time in a Bitcoin 4-year cycle. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are really the anomalies of institutional inflows that have ultimately propelled them to higher prices than where they'd significantly be, or further progress to where they'd typically be in a Bitcoin 4-year cycle. The altcoin market, though, is generally, I think, in a great position. And I don't believe, yes, there might be a slight effect on if the speculation is true, but it largely isn't responsible for people, insiders dumping HBAR is not why the HBAR price looks like it does. And I'll show you that very, very quickly. So if you're going to accuse Shane of being the reason why HBAR looks like it does, well, is he also the CEO of a Filecoin organization, which looks like an even worse chart and has done the exact same thing as Hedera? Is he also running with people from Cardano? Again, exact same thing. Anything really. Filecoin, for example. Uniswap. The altcoin market is just giving way under Bitcoin's price action, and that's why the price action is doing what it's doing. Not because, we've just shown you a couple of examples there, we could show you generally probably about 90% of the cryptocurrency space all looks just like Hedera Hashgraph. In fact, some of it's significantly worse. So I wanted to do that just to show people that the reason HBAR's price is doing what it's doing isn't because insiders are dumping. The HBAR Foundation is dumping. Shane's dumping. Is there maybe an effect in regards to what took place in April? Perhaps. But generally, that's got nothing to do with why HBAR's price is doing what it's doing. Retail largely isn't here. Interest is very low. Institutions aren't buying Hedera. Some of them may hold it due to various associations with the governing council. But the masses will come, ladies and gentlemen. And in regards to this sort of technological revolution that distributed ledgers are at the heart of, Hedera, in my opinion, stands the best chance of being a part of that and enabling part of that. And ultimately, I'm just as bullish on Hedera Hashgraph as I've ever been. I actually think the resignation of Shane, which is taking place today in regards to him no longer being CEO, is a good thing, not a bad thing. And I think I'm very excited to see who the next CEO is. And just remain calm out there. People have blown this massively out of proportion. First of all, you always see that HBAR or Hedera CEO. Hedera doesn't have a CEO. It's the HBAR Foundation, which is a development arm for Hedera, just like Consensus, just like the Cardano Foundation, Parity, we can talk about many others out there. Definity for ICP. And all that's happening is their CEO is stepping down. This is very common. It's a shake-up. And we've spoken about the reasons why. Ultimately, I don't think this affects Hedera in the slightest. And I'm very excited to see who the new CEO is and what the kind of shake-up is going to bring in regards to new team members coming on board, hopefully for the enrichment of Hedera Hashgraph and its community, which is you guys. So we just wanted to make a video on this. Lots of crazy takes coming on the back end of this. Don't panic. I think this is more positive news than it is negative. Hedera Hashgraph very much just falling in line with the broader market. And that's why its price actually is doing what it's doing, giving way under Bitcoin whilst it's been going through this pullback period. Obviously, taking a bigger hit than Bitcoin because also higher beta to Bitcoin. But generally, the market is in good standing, and we do have an amazing time ahead of us in our assessment. And this news is nothing, in my opinion, to be concerned about. But that's just my opinion. I want to know yours in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this content, ladies and gentlemen, a like is always appreciated, so is a comment. And I will see you all in the next one, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next.